Welcome to Quiz Time. I'm your Quizmaster Sean, and I've got questions for you. 100 of them about trivia. So let's have a little fun, shall we? See what we remember and see what we can learn. It's fun. All right, let's begin. What was the name of the first ruler to be crowned as Tsar of Russia? Peter the Great, Ivan the Third, or Ivan the Fourth? That is, Ivan the Terrible. And that would be Ivan the Fourth, the Terrible. What significant event marked the end of the Russian Empire in 1917? The Napoleonic invasion, the Bolshevik Revolution, or the Crimean War? And that would be the Bolshevik Revolution. Which historical figure is credited with the modernization of Russia during the 17th century? Peter the Great, Catherine the Great, or Ivan the Great? And that was Peter the Great. What was the primary cause of the 2008 war between Russia and Georgia? Disputes over South Ossetia and Abkhazia, control of the Caspian Sea, or border trade agreements? It was disputes over South Ossetia and Abkhazia. Slovakia was part of which former country before gaining independence in 1993? Austria-Hungary, Czechoslovakia, or Yugoslavia? And Slovakia was a part of Czechoslovakia. Slovenia gained independence in 1991 from which federation? The Soviet Union, Austria-Hungary, or Yugoslavia? And they gained independence from Yugoslavia. Which large river runs through Romania and empties into the Black Sea? The Rhine, the Danube, or the Volga River? And that would be the Danube River. What legendary Romanian figure is often associated with the vampire myth? Michael the Brave, Vlad the Impaler, or Stephen the Great? And that's Vlad the Impaler. What is the mythical bird of Slavic folklore said to bring both good and bad fortune? The firebird, Żartica, phoenix, or griffin? That would be the firebird, the Żartica. Which mythical creature from Slovak folklore is known to guard treasure in caves? Mythical Slovak creature. That would be a dragon. When did Vladimir Putin first become the president of Russia? The first time. He's done it twice so far. It was 2000 when he first became president of Russia. What is the name of the traditional Georgian feast featuring multiple courses and toasts? Sipuro, Supra, or Khachapuri? And that would be Supra. What famous church in Moscow is known for its colorful onion-shaped domes? St. Basil's Cathedral, the Cathedral of Christ the Savior, or is it the Kremlin? And that would be St. Basil's Cathedral. What mountain range forms the natural border between Europe and Asia in Russia? The Altai Mountains, the Caucasus Mountains, or the Ural Mountains? And that would be the Ural Mountains. Which Romanian mythical creature is believed to be a shape-shifting wolf? Strigoi, Pritolici, or Moroi? And that shape-shifting creature is a Pricolici. What was the name of the former capital of Georgia before Tbilisi? Was it Kutaisi, Batumi, or Gori? Before Tbilisi, it was Kutaisi. What Slovak dish is made with sheep cheese and potato dumplings? Briznov's halushki, goulash, or pierogi? Sheep cheese and potato dumplings. That would be brinjove halushki. What year did Romania join the European Union? 2010, 2004, or was it 2007? When Romania joined the European Union. The year was 2007. What is the traditional Russian winter celebration called? The traditional Russian winter celebration, otherwise known as Maslenitsa. Which Georgian king is famous for uniting the country in the 12th century? Tamar the Great, David the Builder, or George III? And that would be David the Builder. What is the largest city in Slovakia? Bratislava, Kosice, or Žilina? It is Bratislava. What was one of the major factors leading to the Crimean War involving Russia in the 19th century? One of the major factors leading to the Crimean War? Religious disputes in the Holy Land. Which Slovenian lake is known for its picturesque island church? Lake Bled, Lake Bohinja, or Lake Jasna? And that would be Lake Bled. In Romanian folklore, what is a moroi? A guardian spirit, a ghostly vampire-like creature, or a protective dragon? A moroi is a ghostly vampire-like creature. Which Russian artist created the famous ballet The Firebird, based on Slavic folklore? Peter Tchaikovsky, Sergei Prokofiev, or Igor Stravinsky? It was Igor Stravinsky. What is the highest mountain in Russia? The highest mountain in Russia is Mount Elbrus. What is the name of the legendary Georgian wine region believed to be the birthplace of wine? Racha, Imereti, or Kageti? It would be Kakheti. Which legendary sea monster is associated with Slovenian folklore? The sea serpent of Piran, the siren of Strunjan, or the Kraken? In Slovenian folklore, that would be the sea serpent of Piran. Which mythical creature from Slovak and Romanian folklore is associated with stealing children? Vila, Baba Yaga, or Strigoi? That would be Grigoi? Which Roman emperor famously traveled to modern-day Romania and left behind a massive column depicting his campaigns? And that Roman emperor was Trajan. What was the main political goal of far-left groups during the Russian Revolution? Supporting capitalism, abolishing class systems, or establishing a monarchy? The main political goal of the far left in Russia was abolishing class systems. Which far-right leader rose to power in Italy during the 1920s? Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, or Francisco Franco? That would be Benito Mussolini. Which amendment to the U.S. Constitution granted African American men the right to vote? The 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, or was it the 15th Amendment? It was the 15th Amendment. What spice was so valuable in medieval Europe that it was sometimes used as currency? Was it cinnamon? Was it black powder? Or was it nutmeg? Sometimes used as currency, that would be black pepper. Worth its weight in pepper. What was the significance of the Pentagon Papers being leaked to the press in 1971? It exposed Watergate, it revealed government deception about the Vietnam War, or it documented CIA operations abroad? It revealed the government deception about the Vietnam War. What far-left political ideology emphasizes collective ownership and the abolition of private property? Is it communism, anarchism, or is it socialism? And that would be communism. Which movement in the U.S. during the 20th century fought for women's suffrage? The first wave feminism, the abolitionist movement, or the civil rights movement? And that was the first wave feminism. Which spice is derived from the dried stigma of the crocus flower and is considered one of the most expensive spices? Saffron, cardamom, or clove? And that would be saffron. What major news story did journalist Bob Woodward help uncover? The Pentagon Papers, the Cuban Missile Crisis, or was he responsible for uncovering the Watergate scandal? Was the Watergate scandal he was famous for uncovering. Which far-right ideology promotes the idea of a superior race? National Socialism or Nazism, authoritarianism, or fascism? That would be National Socialism. In 1965, which landmark law in the U.S. prohibited racial discrimination in voting? The Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, or was it the Equal Pay Act? It was the Voting Rights Act. Which spice trade route linked Asia to Europe and was central to global trade for centuries? And that was the Maritime Spice Route. Which TV moment captured a live audience witnessing the moon landing in 1969? The Challenger explosion, the Apollo 2's first steps, or Sputnik's launch? That would be Apollo 2's first steps. What was the far-left group responsible for the Cultural Revolution in China? And that far-left group would be the Red Guards? Which act in 1964 outlawed segregation and discrimination based on race, color, religion, or sex? The Equal Rights Amendment, the Civil Rights Act, or the Fair Housing Act? That would be the Civil Rights Act. What spice originating in Indonesia was historically referred to as the King of Spices? Which one's the King of Spices? And that would be nutmeg. Which newspaper famously published the Pentagon Papers despite legal threats? The Los Angeles Times, the Washington Post, or the New York Times? It was the New York Times. What far-right French political party gained prominence under Marine Le Pen? The Republican Guard, the National Front, or the Popular Front? It was the National Front. Who was the first African-American woman elected to Congress? Was it Barbara Jordan, Angela Davis, or Shirley Chisholm? First African-American woman elected to Congress was Shirley Chisholm. What spice is a key ingredient in Indian Kai and is often used in desserts? And that would be cardamom. President famously addressed the nation after the Pearl Harbor attack in 1941. Harry Truman, Franklin D. Roosevelt, or Dwight Eisenhower? It was Franklin D. Roosevelt. What far-left movement during the 1960s in the U.S. opposed the Vietnam War and advocated for civil rights? Whether Underground, the Black Panther Party, or the Students for a Democratic Society? It was Students for a Democratic Society. What was the primary catalyst for the Age of Exploration's interest in spices? Economic profit and trade control, expanding Christianity, or scientific curiosity? It was economic profit and trade control. What groundbreaking moment in 1960 televised a political debate for the first time? The first debate in the United States was Kennedy versus Nixon that was aired on television. Which far-right German paramilitary group supported the Nazi Party before World War II? The SA, Sturmbannteilung, the SS, Schutzstaffel, or the Gestapo? And it was the SA, Sturmbannteilung. What legislation granted women the right to vote in the UK in 1918? The Equal Franchise Act, the Representation of the People Act, or the Suffrage Rights Bill? In Britain, it was the Representation of the People Act. Which ancient civilization was known for trading saffron as a luxury commodity? The Romans, the Egyptians, or the Minoans? And that civilization was the Minoan civilization. Which U.S. journalist famously challenged Senator Joseph McCarthy on live television in the 1950s? Was it Walter Cronkite, Edward R. Murrow, or was it Peter Jennings? It was Edward R. Murrow. What was the primary ideology of the far-left Khmer Rouge regime in Cambodia? primary ideology was agrarian socialism. Who led the far-right Spanish nationalist forces during the Spanish Civil War? José Antonio Primo de Rivera, Miguel Primo de Rivera, or Francisco Franco? The nationalist forces was Francisco Franco. When was the University of Oxford founded, making it the oldest university in the English-speaking world? 1096, 1301, or the year 1200? The University of Oxford was founded in 1096. What is the official motto of Harvard University? Veritas, knowledge is power, or truth and light? The motto of Harvard is Veritas. Which famous scientist attended the University of Cambridge and formulated the laws of motion and universal gravitation? Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, or Charles Darwin? That was Isaac Newton. In what year did Mohandas Gandhi travel to London to study law at University College in London? 1901, 1910, or 1888? Mohandas Gandhi studied in 1888 at University College London. Which U.S. president graduated from Harvard University and later played a key role in founding the United Nations? And that U.S. president was Franklin D. Roosevelt. What was Martin Luther King Jr.'s doctoral dissertation at Boston University focused on? Comparison of the concept of God in the work of Paul Tillich and Henry Nelson Wyman, civil rights laws in the U.S., or nonviolence and social justice? It was the comparison of the concept of God in the work of Paul Tillich and Henry Nelson Wyman. Which Nobel Prize winning physicist was a graduate of Cambridge University? Marie Curie, Niels Bohr, or Ernest Rutherford? And it was Ernest Rutherford. What was the name of the law school Mahatma Gandhi attended in London? King's College, University College London, or Inns of Court School of Law? He attended Inns of Court School of Law. What is the oldest university in the Americas? The oldest university in the Americas is the National University of San Marcos. Which famous naturalist and geologist who developed the theory of evolution by natural selection was a Cambridge graduate? Alfred Russel Wallace, Charles Darwin, or Carl Linnaeus? It was Charles Darwin. In which country is Nalanda University, one of the world's oldest centers of learning, located? Japan, China, or India? It's located in India. Which U.S. president was the first to graduate from Harvard University? First U.S. president to graduate from Harvard University was John Adams. What social movement inspired Martin Luther King Jr.'s philosophy of nonviolent resistance? The French Revolution, the Indian Independence Movement, or the Suffragette Movement? He was inspired by the Indian Independence Movement. Which famous Cambridge graduate invented the World Wide Web? Was it Alan Turing? Was it Tim Berners-Lee? Or was it Steve Jobs? It was Tim Berners-Lee. What is the name of the secretive society at Yale University, whose members often go on to significant political or business success? And that would be Skull and Bones. Which Oxford graduate became a famous playwright and poet during the Elizabethan era? Sir Philip Sidney, Christopher Marlowe, or William Shakespeare? And that was Sir Philip Sidney. What was Mahatma Gandhi's primary strategy for fighting British colonial rule in India? Political alliances with other nations, armed revolution, or nonviolent resistance? Satyagraha. It was nonviolent resistance. Satyagraha. Which graduate of Princeton University wrote the novel The Great Gatsby? The Great Gatsby was written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. The Cambridge Five were a group of spies during the Cold War. What profession did most of them have? Were they journalists? Were they academics? Or were they diplomats? The Cambridge Five were diplomats. What is the oldest university in continuous operation in the world? Our Caroline University, University of Bologna, or the University of Paris? The oldest in continuous operation is the Al-Qarawiyyan University. Which movement did Martin Luther King Jr. lead that focused on ending racial segregation? The Civil Rights Movement, the Abolitionist Movement, or the Suffrage Movement? He led the Civil Rights Movement. Which university did J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of The Lord of the Rings, attend? J.R.R. Tolkien, he attended Oxford University. What title did Gandhi earn during his lifetime for his leadership in nonviolent activism? The Great Liberator, the Father of India, or the Lion of Gujarat? Gandhi was the Father of India. What scientific breakthrough is associated with Harvard graduate Henry David Thoreau? Inventing the telephone, developing atomic theory, or advancing ecological awareness? He's associated with advancing ecological awareness. Which U.S. president was a graduate of Columbia University and later won a Nobel Peace Prize? Woodrow Wilson, Jimmy Carter, or Barack Obama? And that was Barack Obama. Which Cambridge graduate became one of the most famous physicists for his work on black holes? And that Cambridge graduate was Stephen Hawking. What university awarded an honorary degree to Martin Luther King Jr. in 1965 for his work in civil rights? Yale University, the University of Newcastle, or Harvard University? It was the University of Newcastle. Which French university is known for producing numerous Nobel Prize laureates in science? University of Lyon, École Normale Supérieure, or Sorbonne University? And that would be École Normale Supérieure. What field did Gandhi focus on while studying in London? And Gandhi focused on law. Which country is known for being the first in the world to grant women the right to vote in 1906? Finland, Sweden, or Iceland? The first to grant women the right to vote was Finland. Which northern European country is famous for its fjords, steep cliffs, and natural beauty? Sweden, Norway, or Finland? And it is Norway. What is the national dish of Denmark that often includes rye bread, fish, and pickled items? Abelskiver, gravlax, or smørbrød? That would be smørbrød. What is the Netherlands' famous system of reclaiming land from the sea called? Polders, moraines, or fjords? And it's called polders. Which northern European country is known for having more sheep than people? Finland, Iceland, or Norway? And they've got more sheep than people in Iceland. What Dutch flower is world famous and symbolizes the country's history and culture? And that Dutch flower is the tulip. What unique national competition is held annually in Finland? The cheese rolling race, the wife carrying championship, or the log balancing tournament? In Finland, it's the wife carrying championship. Which northern European country is known for being the birthplace of Lego? Norway, Denmark, or Sweden? The birthplace of Lego is Denmark. What is the traditional Finnish sauna practice often paired with? Drinking wine, wearing wooden clothes, or a plunge into an icy lake? Well, as soon as you get out of the sauna, you must plunge into the icy lake or snow. Which Dutch city is famous for its extensive canal system and is sometimes called the Venice of the North? Is that Rotterdam, Utrecht, or Amsterdam? That would be Amsterdam. And now question 100. What unique characteristic does Finland hold regarding its lakes? And that unique characteristic is Finland is known as the land of 1,000 lakes. Thanks for playing Quiz Time. Drop your score in the comments, please, and don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you don't miss Quiz Time. Because we like doing this together. It's fun. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.